Splatoon 3 Side Order is absolutely amazing, and with it comes some concepts that Nintendo has never experimented with. Nintendo decided to make a roguelike game mode for Splatoon. Very unexpected, but I've got to say it went really well. And today we're going to speak about how Side Order is so replayable. And of course, spoiler warning. When it comes to modern Nintendo games, a lot of them feel really unreplayable. For example, I might get cooked for this one, but Mario Wonder with its stage-based wonder effects instead of having power-ups which you can bring throughout every level. Pikmin 4, for example, with the tutorial being super long. These games just clearly aren't really built to be replayed. It's probably my biggest grudge for Nintendo at the moment. I'd love to be able to come back to their games, but it's really hard in some cases. Even looking at past Splatoon DLCs and games, for example, Octo Expansion, it's an absolute amazing DLC, one of the best DLCs, if not the best DLC I've ever bought in my life, but I definitely have not replayed it in a very long time. That's because Nintendo usually decides to focus on a more story-based linear campaign, and this is where Side Order comes in, to change everything. Side Order takes Splatoon and completely flips it on its head, making a game mode that's kind of similar to Salmon Run, but very, very different at the same time. 30 floors of pure chaos with randomly generated golds, randomly generated floors, randomly generated color chips you can pick up throughout, and even a weapon you get to pick at the start of the tower. And now Splatoon's magically looking a lot more like Binding of Isaac. And Side Order was something I was very scared of when I saw that Nintendo was going for this new genre, but to my surprise, they smashed it, while still incorporating a good amount of story into the campaign. So let's delve a little deeper into what makes Side Order so replayable. Today I'm going to focus on specifically 3 different topics: chips, enemies, and choice. And if you're particularly interested in any of these topics, then check the timestamps in the description to skip to the part you want to see. With that said, let's begin with the color chips. Of course, you've got to mention the color chips when mentioning Side Order. They are what defines this game mode as special. So color chips are like passive items you can collect, which will permanently buff your character for the rest of the run. Color chips also come in a variety of different colors, which correlates to what aspect they cover. Some examples being red is offensive, purple is support, and neon green is luck. Every time you go to a new floor, you will have the option of 3 different levels. Each one of these will reward you with a different color chip. So it's up to you to build your own run up how you want it to be. For example, you can have a run that fully focuses on the drone, or you could have a run that fully focuses on buffing your main weapon to be absolutely overpowered. This alone incentivizes you to come back and play some Side Order, to just do a new run, because every time you personally can make it different. I do personally really enjoy drone runs. Absolutely buffing the hell out of the Pearl drone is super fun. This then of course comes with the sacrifice of being weaker in other aspects that aren't the drone, which can make for some really interesting strategic choices when picking what chips you want to use. The 3 chip options you will get at the start of a level are also randomized, meaning that once again, every time you come through, it's going to be slightly different, and it may sometimes make you pick a perk that you usually wouldn't. This is a great way to push the player into discovering different synergies that they might not have originally thought of. If you're lucky, some levels can reward you with a double chip, which basically means if you take on this level, you will be rewarded with 2 of the same chips, which will further buff whatever this chip is, incentivizing the player to take more risks. Every time you lose a run, you can go and speak to Marina about permanent buffs. These buffs or hacks will persist through every single run you do, and sometimes even unlocking new chips you'll be able to find in the Spire of Order, meaning that there's always a reason to come back after you fail or after you win, because there's new stuff to unlock. I'm also very pleasantly surprised by how far Nintendo took this. They made it so some chips, when absolutely stacked to the maximum, could genuinely make you overpowered, and I didn't think this is something Nintendo would dive into, but you can really have runs that are just absolutely off the rails. For example, I had a run that buffed the Splat Charger so much, it had the same fire rate as the Grizzco Charger from Salmon Run. Color chips were just so well done, and I really hope something like this returns for the future. Although I can't see this gimmick being taken any further. I think this will stay to just Side Order, which is really sad because it works out really well, and if polished, could be even better. Hey everyone who did or did not skip to this segment of the video. One thing I love about Side Order is its enemy variety. For those of you that have been long-time Splatoon fans, you will know that all we have had for so many years is damn Octarian reskins. They were in Splatoon 1, they returned in Splatoon 2, they returned in the Splatoon 2 DLC, they returned in the Splatoon 3 story mode, and now we finally get a break from them with the introduction of Gelatons. These guys remind me a lot of Salmonids, and in the best way possible. I think the Salmonids are very unique, they have brilliant designs, and they work perfectly. These are like the single player alternative to Salmonids, and I've got to say they also have some killer designs. Nintendo just doesn't miss with enemy design, and for once there's a large variety of new enemies that do new things, which is something that we really need. Although new enemies are usually introduced throughout games, there's always the same recurring enemies that literally do the exact same thing. Now we have new enemies that have completely new movesets and behavior, which is something we've really needed. And some of these enemies still take notes out of the books of other enemies, which I think is fine. For example, the sniper dudes definitely take a note out of the Stinger's book from Salmon Run. These guys are like stacked on a pile of pots and you can knock them down. And what's different about these snipers is that you can take them out from directly the top, and if you do this, then you will get a bonus explosion from the bottom of them, incentivizing the player to not just mindlessly knock it down, but instead aim for the head. Once again, making the player make fast-paced decisions in a very hectic game where you're getting chased down by a bunch of evil Lego jellyfish. The enemies also have a lot of interactions with your own ink. For example, they can start to drown in it, and your ink will do damage over time. Chips can also buff this, but we've already spoke about those. Some enemies like the battering Lento, these names are stupid, don't spread ink on the floor, so if you ink the grounds, they will get stuck in it and slowed down massively. But the smaller fish can create ink trails, and will usually create ink trails for the big guys to be able to go through, meaning that instead of mindlessly firing into the crowd, you can strategize on what to take out first, just mixing up the gameplay to a whole new level. I think the enemies are just such a great addition to Side Order, and it wouldn't be the same without them, obviously. And Nintendo certainly nailed the designs, the features, the mechanics, and just everything they do. They did a great job of making them special. Also, not to mention, is it just me or does their ink literally look like watery jelly? Like, I can tell what that tastes like just by looking at it. How does Nintendo nail the ink that well? Finally, I'd like to speak about choice. I've already slightly covered this in the previous two segments. Just the absolute choice Side Order gives you is what makes it so replayable and so special. From being able to pick a weapon to run into the tower with, to being able to pick what permanent hacks you want at the start. It's different because of random values, and also different because how you personally make it, and I absolutely love it. I'm a ginormous fan of the Binding of Isaac, and I play it a lot, and this just reminds me of it so well. Being able to have very powerful runs due to what you manipulated is just always fun. There's also many extra features on top of the 3 levels you get to choose. Sometimes you can get a vending machine break area where you can skip a floor and instead go to a vending machine and buy perks. There's also bonus levels. In bonus levels, you are given a usually very hard task, and you can get a bit of extra membucks, which you can also spend at these vending machine areas or convert them into more pearls, giving you a challenge to play on the absolute edge, but also be rewarded heavily from it. There's also danger levels that will occur further and further up the tower. These will have a special debuff that will completely mix up a level, making it sometimes really challenging. For example, some will completely take your pearl drone away from you. If you're going for a strong drone build, then this can hinder you quite a lot. Others are lights out, where the map is almost completely pitch black, making it very scary when enemies come around the corner and corner you instantly, and some others like the entire map being inked by enemy ink. And you can't simply just ignore these danger zones, they will show up more and more if you skip them, eventually forcing you to take a danger zone. Once again, leaving it up to the player to decide if they want to take the poison early or wait it out, and it could be even worse down the line. Side Order has completely mixed up how Splatoon works and has took the risk of introducing something new to the series, and it's gone absolutely amazingly. Although it might be lacking in some aspects, one of which in my opinion would be the amount of boss fights, I think if this is taken further in the future, it could be insane. What do you guys think? What is your opinion on Side Order? And if you've beat it, how many times did it take you to beat it? It took me like 7, I'll be honest. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really appreciate all of you for watching my videos. It means the world to me, like really. And let me know if you want to see more Splatoon content or other Nintendo series, because I usually only cover Pikmin. Let me know. And also make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It helps a lot. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Thank you so much to all of my supporters. Gunnadahun, TenTickles, ZeroMatic, PieLoverVI, Mizziekeen, DankMemeBoi, PurgeFlyFox, JoJoRune Kris, Ninja Gamer, Fernando Urista, Oddo, SageOfKindness, Flamsey, Collztoons, Mystery, Lealdo, The Best Evie, FlipperFlopper, Sardeliny, PSKing, Gamer Tincan Endure, Fancy Man, Frosty the Beastar, Yoshi Cooper, and Valley08. You guys are all absolute legends.